Today on our Learn and Grow channel, we're going to do Science with Miss Jessica! And we have our very first guest star, which is personally my sister. Her name is Kenna Looney, and she is a nurse. She's coming today to do a science experiment with us. So without further ado, here she is! Now we're going to continue our germ exploration by doing a science experiment. We have created this on a piece of tag board so that you guys can see it, so it's really big. But you guys can use a journal, a scrap piece of paper, anything that you have at home to keep a record of our experiment that we're going to do, and you guys could do at home too. So Kenna is going to explain what our science experiment is.
So what we're going to do is we're going to use bread and to help show how washing your hands will get rid of germs. And so we're going to do kind of it takes about a week for us to do this experiment. And what you'll need for your experiment is, I put all of my stuff on a board so that it's nice and organized. And we will need 4 pieces of bread. You can use any kind of bread. I used white bread, and then we had a piece of wheat bread. And then you'll need 4 Ziploc baggies and stuff to wash your hands, which you should already have. So the first thing we're going to do is I organized it out to, we're going to test, 1 piece of bread is going to be touched with dirty hands. That means they haven't been washed yet at all. 1 piece of bread will be tested with just rinsed hands with water only, no soap. And then another piece of bread will be tested with washed hands with soap, for the proper amount of time, which is at least 20 seconds. And then our 4th piece of bread will be our control bread. So you can start out by labeling your sandwich baggies so that we know which bread goes where. So the first bread, I labeled it dirty. So that means the ones that we have not washed our hands with yet. And then the second one I labeled as rinsed, and that'll be the one that we just rinsed our hands with water. And then this one is clean. That's the one that we've washed our hands really well. And then this last one will be our control bread. That means that we have not done anything to it. So the purpose behind the control bread is to show what happens when nothing is done to it. So each one of these bread, the clean, rinsed, and dirty, have had something done to them. They've been touched with something besides just nothing. So we are going to follow up on our bread. So for day 1, you can write down your observations. Your observations are things that you see. Do you notice, like, what color is your bread? Does it have any holes in it? Does it have any funky spots? And then you can write that under day 1. So then in 2 more days, you just keep your bread in your baggies, and we'll check back up on our bread in 2 days, 5 days, and 7 days. So after your bread has been in your baggies for a week, then we will do our final observations. So you can tell us what you find on your bread. Does it have any specific colors? How is it different from the very first day that we put our bread in the baggies? And you can write them down. I put them in a little chart so that I just have it organized. So how we're going to do this experiment is, our first piece of bread is going to be our dirty bread.
Dirty hands.
So Miss Jessica has not washed her hands yet. She's going to rub her hands on both sides of this bread. Okay, so this one should have all of the germs from dirty hands on it. All right. Then our next piece of bread is when Jessica just rinses her hands with water. She's just gonna do a quick rinse. Alrighty. And same thing, just gonna rub hands on both sides of the bread. And then we'll put it in the baggie. And seal it up. This one was the rinsed. All right, now she is going to wash her hands really well. Just make sure to get our palms, and then in between our fingers, on both sides. Yep. Then you'll get your thumb really good. And then last but not least, your wrists.
All right, now they're all clean.
Dry in here. All right, so our third piece of bread is going to be our clean bread. We'll do the same thing with freshly washed hands, both sides. And then our last piece of bread is our control bread, and we won't do anything to it. All I did was stuffed it in this little baggie and zipped it up. So, important safety tips for this experiment. We're going to be growing funky stuff on these bread. So, it's important for you to not open them, smell them, eat them, lick them. Just leave the breads in the bags. Now that we've made our experiment up, because we don't want you to eat anything that could give you a upset stomach.
And once we have our experiment completely ready, that means all of our bread is in the bag, we did everything that we needed to do to prepare it, we're going to make our hypothesis, which means a guess, an educated guess, of what you think is going to happen. What do you think is going to happen to the control bread? Is anything going to happen? Is it going to stay the same? Is it going to change color? Is it going to shrink? Is it going to grow? What do you think will happen to this one? And then also, what do you think is going to happen between the three that we changed with our clean hands, our rinsed hands, and our dirty hands? And then we will check back in as the days go by, and then we'll let you know how our experiment turns out, and I would love to see how your experiment turns out. Please like and subscribe, comment if you do the experiment with us, and I want to say thank you so much for my sister to come and help us on our channel, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks!